All right, continuing on here with Digital Trends Live, we are now going to be joined by the one and only Drew Prindle for another edition of Awesome Tech You Can't Buy Yet. Drew, always good to see you.
Hey, good to see you as well.
So which one of these things do you want to start off with here first? Drew, by the way, scours the internet looking for some of the strangest, sometimes coolest crowdfunding campaigns that you can find out there and then showcases them for us. Which one are we starting with?
Let's start with this ArduBee drone. So I'm sure you've heard of these like single board computers, kind of like Arduino or Raspberry Pi. They're those little, basically super simplified computers that you can attach whatever peripherals and add-ons and sensors and whatever and develop your own little mini computer. This is basically that exact same idea, but on a drone. So it's a little single PCB drone with all of the components that it needs, all of the processors, all of the motion sensors, all of that stuff. But you can add on different modules. So you can swap in different propellers, you can swap in SD cards, you can add camera modules, you can add sensors, and you can basically just program the drone to do anything you want. So if you have any like programming chops and you want to play around with programming a drone instead of just a little static computer, this is for you.
That is pretty cool, actually, to be able to put that kind of power to just let people be creative with it. I'm anticipating there's going to be some that you don't want to see made, but nonetheless, that's actually really cool to put that out there so that people can start making their own drones. So that's the ArduBee open source micro drone, $288. That is one of the Kickstarting campaigns. Let's go on to the next one here.
All right, next up, let's talk about the Flectr Zero. So this is one that I actually backed years ago in an earlier incarnation of it. At first glance, they basically just look like any other reflector for your bike, but these things, I'm here to tell you, are out of control. I don't know how they make them, but somehow they are like orders of magnitude more reflective than normal reflective tape or just, any reflective material that I've ever seen. So instead of like normally when you... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask, like, what makes them so reflective? Like, that just seems strange to me.
I honestly don't know. It's normally stuff is generally, they call it, it's like retro reflective. So it only really reflects back at you when you're shining a light directly at it. But somehow they've engineered these things so that even when light's hitting it from like an oblique angle, it still reflects back at you very, very brightly. So it just makes you insanely visible. And the cool thing is it doesn't require any power. So you're effectively putting like bike lights on your bike that never run out of battery and never stop working. And these new ones are like the smallest ones that they've made. They fit on your spokes. They don't create any aerodynamic drag. They're just awesome. So if you ride a bike or commute to work via bicycle, I highly recommend checking out these things.
Yeah, and the price isn't bad either. I want to back that one because that's a pretty good deal for something like that. It's so simple, but that's really, really cool. So that's the Flectr Zero, and so $18 I think is what it works out to be, like 15 euros or something like that. Yeah, to back them. That's really cool. It looks like a lot of people are wanting to back that one as well because I'm seeing where it's funded. They asked for $6,000 and they're at 156,000 with 12 days to go. I'm going to add into that myself after this one. So Flectr Zero, performance bike reflector. Check that one out. And then what is our final one here for Awesome Tech?
All right, the last one is this weird little thing called Trexo Wheels. So it's basically a robotic tabletop video dolly. So if you're not familiar with what a dolly is, it's basically just a little wheeled rig for you to roll a camera on so that you can get really smooth shots. They use them in Hollywood all the time for big cameras, but this one is designed for little cameras, and it's designed to be used on a countertop, on like a nice flat surface. These exist already, but most of them aren't motorized. Typically, you can get them and they're made with like rollerblade wheels and you can push them around the table manually. But the problem with that is the motion isn't always super smooth when you're the person moving it yourself. So this thing basically solves that problem by putting motors on it. So you can tell it the path that you want to go and it will remember where you pushed it. And then when you hit a button, it'll autonomously and smoothly just wheel itself around. And you'll get super slick, dynamic shots. It's probably great for just like product photography and pretty much any video where you would want a close-up of something.
That's what I was thinking, like product photography in particular. Like that's a great use case, or I don't know. That just looks fun to use in general to come up with some kind of project for it. And that's the Trexo Wheels. So also pledged was $40,000 was the goal. They're at 259,000 with 15 days to go. There are so many people at home and bored and trying to make films right now or shoot anything. I can imagine this is going to be super popular. So that's pretty awesome. So again, that's Trexo Wheels, and that's part of Awesome Tech. You can't buy yet. Where Drew scours the internet finding these different crowdfunding campaigns and brings them to us. We got them all listed too at digitaltrends.com, where you can go through and take a look at all the past ones. Drew, as always, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem, man.